is there a type of like woman, whether it's like an occupation or what, where it's like, no matter what, those are like the everyday woman's just like heroes? Because for guys, the reason I bring that up is I just listened to Robert O'Neill, who killed Osama bin Laden, the Navy SEAL. Like Navy SEALs, every single guy's like, wow.
Wow, like the Navy SEAL.
Yeah, like Navy SEAL is like the universal. Like, yeah, he's a freaking Navy SEAL.
That's a good question.
And most guys didn't even know what Navy SEAls do, but I can guarantee you, like if you are listening to this and you're a guy, you're nodding your head. If you know any guys in their life, it's like, you're like, hey, who's the most badass people on the planet? And what's funny is like there's other like elite special force units and stuff. But Navy SEALs are like, well, I mean, he's a SEAL.
Yeah. Oh God, that's actually a really good question, because it's like,
is there one for women?
My first instinct, I think, but I was like, that's my ego.
We're gonna say a mother.
Well, no,
because like that's the thing.
My first instinct actually was to be like, well, all women, I feel like, salute the Brazilian waxers, like, which is what I used to do.
That is a hilarious.
But I was like, oh, you mean like what's like the most like heroic job? I mean, I feel like just like general nurses, women are like, oh yeah, like what a nice lady.
Really? Because I feel like sometimes people are like, I hate that. Yeah.
Yeah, because the trope is also like the mean girl you went to high school with is now a nurse. But there are a lot of great nurses out there.
Only on the Public Pool podcast, which you're currently listening to, and welcome, would you ever get that actually the equivalent to the Navy SEAL for men is the Brazilian waxer for women.
Yeah.
You're not getting that type of intel anywhere else.
Hey, I got injured on the line of duty, okay?
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm out of commish. I have like permanent like arthritis in my hand now. Is it the most injury prone like woman's occupation? No. There's definitely other ones. I just got injured because I was doing too much, You were
going too hard.
You
were being a hero.
I made some tips.
You should get some medals of honor and stuff. Like, some Purple Hearts.
Honestly, it sucks that like my hand does hurt now, because so many times I've been like, man, what if I just did it for like a summer? Just did it again, just like make a bunch of extra cash, because it's like, you can make a lot of money. Like
especially in season.
Yeah. And over summer, it's like, oh yeah, you can make bank. But
honestly, you could go back to that, and I can go back to cleaning pools. They're both summer seasonal.
Yeah, we have a little summer job.
And in the winter, we're comedians.
Yeah.
With a podcast.
But we take summers off.
To do our manual labor.
Yeah. Oh God, that's a really good question. You might have to come back to me with that, because there definitely is an obvious answer that I'm like missing.
I don't know if there is an obvious one. I don't know because honestly, as we were just saying that too, I was like, you know what? There aren't a lot of women's occupations, and you're gonna be like, well, women can be soldiers too, and they are, and we salute those heroes as well. But for the most part, they're not as often on the front lines.
Yeah,
there's a lot. Men usually do the jobs where you can get really, really hurt. Like even just like oil drillers.
Yeah,
like stuff like that. And so I think that has to be sort of an aspect of it. Of like part of the reason why Navy SEALs are so like revered is because it's like, obviously they're like really elite like killers, but they also people are trying to kill them.
Yeah. I mean, I think it depends.
The stakes are high.
It depends on the woman you're asking, because it's like, there are like, I think certain sections of women where we're like, do you know who the heroes are? The strippers.
Yes.
They're out there trying to put food on the table for their family. They're in a dangerous line of work. Like, but it's like, it just depends who you ask.
It really depends on who you ask. You're right.
Because the obvious answer is the like the NICU nurses,
those honestly, so that's it.
Yeah. It's the ones where it's like, you know what? Your job is emotionally really hard. Not obviously it's very hard in general, but also you're dealing with a lot emotionally.
Yes. And you're juggling the doctors. You're doing all this stuff. Okay, see, I thought you were talking about like general nurses, and I was like, I don't know.
Well, general nurses too. I don't know.
Yeah,
but men can be nurses too. You know.
Yeah.
Men can be nurses and women can be soldiers.
That's the funniest plot line in Meet the Parents is like, when he meets, because I know now I feel like most nurses are men at this point almost. I know that's not true, but I feel like
definitely not. But there's a lot of male nurses. Yeah.
You can always tell which ones are a nurse, which one's a doctor.
Yeah.
Not even just by the lab coat too.
No, yeah.
There's just a general vibe.
There is.
Nurses seem a lot easier to talk to.
Yeah.
Doctors seem a little bit in the paperwork. Yeah. Which I guess that's because they're doing their job.
Do you know what? This is completely off topic. I don't know what. Just last night fell into like a TikTok rabbit hole of just show me paleontology videos.
Yeah.
That's how I was falling asleep last night. I was looking at that and like giant squids.
Yes.
I love a good giant squid rabbit hole.
Not as big as you'd hope they would be.
No, but they are really long, I guess. It's kind of like the jellyfish where it's like they are pretty long.
Yeah.
But when you think of like a T-Rex, where do you picture them like living?
What do you mean?
Like where in the world would you, obviously like the continents were different, but like in your head, where do like T-Rexes live?
Like the landscape?
Yeah, or just like general country or,
Country-wise, I feel like America actually.
See, I wouldn't have thought that. For some reason, it would have been like South America more or like Africa.
No, we're like the hub of dinosaurs.
I know.
Isn't that weird?
No, like that's what I was going to bring up was like, it's so interesting to me because I was reading a story about how these like 3 little boys, there was like 2 brothers and a cousin in North Dakota, were like hiking and they found a T-Rex like leg bone.
See, that makes so much sense to me.
And I was like, that's crazy to think about T-Rexes in like South Dakota.
Yeah, how would you even know that? So that's who lives there.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, yeah, it's just because obviously like the landscapes were just so different back then. Like, but it's weird to think about like, because I know like New Mexico has a lot of like raptors and stuff like that where it's like, America had just like a ton of dinosaurs.
Well, it's like Africa. When I picture Africa, it's always the same setting, which is the
desert, the Sahara.
Like the desert plains.
Yeah.
But there's always like a small pond.
Yeah.
That's like just right there.
There is the water. There's the mirage.
The watering hole.
Yeah.
But like that's where all the animals go. Like it really feels one thing where it's like Lion King, and I'm going to just say a bunch of stuff that I'm going to act like I'm an expert, but I'm probably wrong. But it really does feel like the Lion King, like one of the most silliest scenes in any movie ever is the beginning of Lion King when a new lion has been born, and for some reason all of the animals who that lion is going to eat like kind of go and give it a nod, like
he's going to be the king.
He's going to be the king, but it's not I don't know what to show you. The African savannah isn't a democracy.
How do you know?
He didn't.
Can you say that for certain?
I can say that for certain. I don't think that the antelope voted for the lion to be king. I think the lion took that. It's more of a dictatorship.
Okay, well, it's a dictatorship.
Although I guess, you know what? Everybody was nodding Stalin too.
Yeah.
So, there is that to it. But just like because of this watering hole setting, all the animals are all just sort of hanging around each other.
Yeah.
Even though they're all like enemies in a way.
Yeah.
But it's like, I feel like every picture of like people on safari, it's like, in that picture are the lions and the things the lion eats and then the things those things eat.
Yeah.
And they're all in the same frame. It's like, get out of there, girl.
And then the vulture that picks up all the scraps.
And then the vulture. And it's like, why are you guys all hanging around with the things that are going to eat you? It's really convenient for the lion.
Honestly, it made a lot of sense why it was like, the Lion King movie. Or it's like, this is the place for us to explain the circle of life the easiest.
Yes, it really is. Because there's no like tree cover.
Yeah.
It's just like.
And I think maybe I think of a little bit of like, dinosaurs like in Africa more because I think a lot. I think I consider Africa almost like the beginning of life, but it's like, no, that's more like the beginning of humanity.
Humanity, yeah.
But like if in my head, I'm like, well, everything started in Africa, obviously. Like,
you know how like it all started with like a single cell?
Yeah.
And then the cell multiplied or whatever?
Of course.
Where do you think that was? They obviously don't know. Where could it?
I don't know.
Like, what if it's like our house?
Yeah.
What if life started right here?
Right here?
Yeah.
Who's to say?
We just have no idea.
Could have been anything. I feel like it was probably somewhere where it's like wet,
But I mean, everything was wet at first, babe.
That's true. That's true.
7 billion years ago or something.
Yeah. How old is the Earth?
4 billion years or 7 billion. I don't know. It's in the billions.
I get confused.
Yeah.
Like it trips me out how like new humanity is.
Yeah, but isn't humanity like 200,000 years old or something? This is according, by the way, to the atheist scientists, mind you. Okay? Which we take with a grain of salt. We really do. Fauci. Back to the topic. So Brazilian waxers are like Navy SEALs.
Basically.
Here's why.
Hey, I've been kicked. I got really good at like catching legs, You
legit. I mean, it's also a really serious skill to have.
Yeah.
Like you had to get a license for it.
It's just, I think the biggest thing with that job that nobody ever talks about is just you have to be someone who's a really comfortable person. I'm a very comfortable person. Like I am not someone who's like naked bodies. And
you're comfortable around bodies. I wouldn't say you're always a comfortable person.
Yeah, but like I'm someone where I'm like that's why I always say like, oh, I rather be like naked in the middle of an arena, like a sold out arena, than like do karaoke in front of 10 people. I mean. Where it's like I'm just like so like whatever with like bodies, like it doesn't bother me. So it's like, but most people are uncomfortable with naked bodies.
That's what I mean. You're not a comfortable person. You're comfortable around nudity.
Yeah, I'm very comfortable around nudity.
There's a big difference because I would be very uncomfortable being naked in front of a crowd of people.
Yeah.
But I would love to do karaoke.
I mean, I wouldn't like be like, yahoo, like let me do it right now. But like if the options were karaoke or
nudity,
getting nude in Crypto.com Arena, I'm going to get nude in Crypto.com Arena.
I think a lot of people will be very happy with your choice.
Do you think it could sell out?
I think it could sell out. And I also think that like if there was a game, it's kind of like Squid Game, which I finished this series a couple nights ago.
What'd you think? So the series is done.
Series is done. They're going to do an American one.
That's kind of dumb. They should just leave it be. It was a really big hit. Just let it.
You know what though? I'm starting to be the opposite. When everybody's like, "No, it was perfect. Don't ruin it."
I'm just so in the like I'm just over remakes and because if Americans didn't watch Squid Games, if it was just like, hey, this was a huge hit show somewhere else, but Americans didn't watch it, then sure, remake it. Yeah. But the fact that no, like English speaking people and like other language, they watch Squid Games. It didn't stop anyone.
Yeah.
Why?
The only reason why I think it's a little bit different is because the games that they play are Korean childhood games.
Yeah.
It would be really fun to see. Like they play like really weird games. Like they play Red Light, Green Light, which we play.
Yeah.
And then this season they played Hide and Seek, which was one of the more...
It's very Hunger Games-y.
My blood pressure was so high.
Yeah, I don't like that.
During that game. It took me like 3 nights to watch it.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't fall asleep those nights too.
Yeah.
Partly because of jet lag, but also partly because it was like, I just, like, you're in the game. But then they play another game where it's like, they have like a cookie and they have to cut the shape out of the, like stuff that we would never do. Or not would never, but never did.
But yeah, that's not really part of our.
But like watching them play like Red Rover.
Yeah.
Which I guess people don't really play anymore either because that got, the damn liberals took that away.
Yeah. Why again? Wait, okay. I feel like I'm thinking of something different with Red Rover. Can you explain what's Red Rover?
Red Rover is there's 2 teams.
Yeah.
Everybody on your team holds hands, and the other team players on the other team try to run through your hands.
Okay, yeah.
It was arguably my best game.
I was gonna say I feel like I was like that's what I thought it was, but I felt like there was so much scandal around it that I was like, wait, what?
Well, I'm the reason why I got banned in my school. I think.
Okay, why?
Because you couldn't stop me. I was breaking people's arms. I feel like, like it was. I loved the game. I love getting a hit.
I know you do.
But
when I try to do it, it's a problem. I'm just kidding.
But when meanwhile, you're not allowed to hit me. Thanks, Johnny Law. But it was just, it's a game. It's like like you never played. It used to be called Smear the Queer, but you never played Kill the Guy with the Ball, right?
Is it just trying to hit someone with a ball?
It's a very male child game. So basically, this is the game.
Sorry, I need a moment to laugh about the first name.
Have you ever heard of this game? They're called Smear the Queer is how it was called.
No, I've never heard of that. And then when you said try to kill the guy with the ball, I figured that was just like a game that you and your friends made up.
No.
Are you sure?
It's arguably the oldest game.
I mean, that just sounds like how little boys play. Is just like, can I hit you with a ball?
The way that prostitution's the oldest profession, this is the oldest game because the rules are very simple. If the guy has the ball, he wants to keep the ball, and your job is to get the ball away from him. So you kill the guy with the ball. It's not as
wait. Sorry, I thought it was one guy like stood there and everyone was trying to kill the guy with the ball.
No.
Kill the guy who currently has the ball.
This is the issue with the English language.
Yeah.
It could mean either thing.
That's why it was like, isn't this just kind of like the origins of dodgeball a little bit?
Let me rename it. Kill the guy who is in possession of the ball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then do you hit him? Like you just kind of attack him?
Yeah. Basically you tackle him.
It's basically like when a wasp kills a bee and then all the rest of the bees come kill the wasp.
Yeah, it's exactly that. Okay. It's exactly that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure that's now what they would call it.
Okay.
You know, it's like when they took away sitting Indian style and now you sit crisscross applesauce.
I grew up in the phase where it was always crisscross applesauce.
Yeah. I grew up in the bridge.
Yeah.
There was one year, I was like kindergarten, it was like, everybody sit Indian style. And the next year they're like, sit crisscross applesauce. And we were like, we have no idea what you're talking about.
Crisscross applesauce is a really long way to,
but it rolls
to
off,
say just.
It rolls off the tongue.
Is there a better way to say that? Like to sit down?
Crisscross.
Sit crisscross? Yeah, I guess so. The way you'll never sit.
Yeah.
You'll never get on the floor with me.
I'm an adult man.
My dream is to have a picnic and my husband won't.
I'll bring a chair. I'll be that guy. I'll be above the chair.
You don't want to sit on a nice quilt on the floor while we have some snacks in a little basket?
There's a lot of things I'd rather do. That's how ants get around. That's how you get itchy from grass.
But you're sitting on a blanket.
The blanket does very little. First of all, the ants can get on the blanket immediately. Second of all, there's always grass on the blanket. You're going to spill. The blanket, yeah, no.
What about like a beach picnic? You wouldn't sit on
beach is better.
Okay.
Beach, I can manipulate my environment.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I just,
Yeah.
A girl dreams of picnics.
I'll take you on a picnic, baby. I'll take you on a picnic. But the problem is, and if you're listening, I'm talking about no matter what, now you'll be like, no, you're only doing this. Mm-hmm. I'm doing this with the wrong intentions.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't want, if you're like, hey, why don't you ever buy me flowers? Uh-huh. I'm actually now in flower debt. If me buying you flowers next time, I'm not all of a sudden in the clear. Now I've just made up for the fact that I didn't buy you flowers.
But now
before.
you have to keep going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's a consistent thing.
I can't ask for it is the problem because then it's not pure of heart.
Yeah. But if you don't ask for it and never bring it up, then you.
I'm aware. I am aware of this paradox. You don't think I live in this bubble?
Yeah, because then the next fight it gets brought up. Why do you never buy me flowers? And then I'm like, I was unaware that was a thing you were interested in. You're like, well, you wouldn't know.
What do you mean?
I'm saying that's how those things go. Where it's like, there's like 6 years into our relationship, I think for the most part, I do know the expectations. But the first couple of years, it is always like, shit, I didn't realize. Yeah. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And expectations change too. Like,
did you know what happened with my bridal shower?
No.
How I couldn't ask you to bring me flowers.
What?
How you brought me flowers on my bridal shower? I was like, he doesn't know he's supposed to bring me flowers.
Oh, yeah. I did not know.
So I was like, but I can ask him to bring me flowers. So I had to ask someone to tell you to give me flowers.
Oh, I would not have brought flowers.
But I was like, that's the workaround. Because I was like, I can't tell you to bring it to me.
I
have to tell someone to tell you. Because I was like, because I know he doesn't know that that's a thing.
Yeah, so, I would have no idea. I would have no idea.
Why would you? And but I was like, he can't not bring that by.
It's like getting mad at somebody for using the wrong fork to eat their salad at like a nice restaurant.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know.
When are they supposed to teach you that shit? Is it just like rich people things where it's like they know or like fancy people?
You didn't go to like cotillion or etiquette class?
No.
Oh my God.
It's like
I forgot I was with one of the poors.
One of the poors.
Yeah.
It's like that meme that's like, why people ask you crazy shit? Like, do you know how to ski? Like that was one of my favorite posts of all time.
I did. When I was in 4th grade, and maybe it's just an East Coast thing, but there is always like, all of a sudden there's like I forget what ours was called, but it's called like cotillion.
Yeah.
Just like once a week for like 10 weeks. Maybe it was once a month. I have no idea. You put on your little blazer and you go and they teach you how to dance. And they teach you that the boys go up and they ask the girls, may I have this dance? So you go up to the girl you have a huge crush on. So may I have this dance? And they teach you the box step. Uh-huh. And really just the box step. But you do that.
They taught us a couple dances in like 1st grade or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was more of a like, hey, we're doing this one dance and then we're going to perform it for.
Yeah, that's different.
That's different.
This is outside of school.
Oh, okay.
This is like, it's usually run through the school, but the parents have to sign up for it.
Okay.
And they give you like, it wasn't like orange soda, but it wasn't like orange juice. It was like orange flavored.
Orange drink.
Orange drink. Uh-huh. And I just remember the whole thing was everybody would complain about how much it stunk. And I remember thinking like, I really like this.
Yeah.
I think it was the first time I ever said like out loud, like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. This is great. When that wasn't the cool thing to say. And a bunch of people were like, I agree. It actually is really nice. I'll drink yours if you're not going to have it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we would do that. And then the one I was at, they didn't teach you like other etiquette stuff, but I know other people who went to ones where they did.
Okay. Because I in Girl Scouts, I feel like they like tried to teach us some stuff like a second.
Yeah.
But it had nothing to do with like the forks or the what. It was a lot of the like don't talk with your mouth full and like
general concept stuff.
And it was like, don't face your back to someone while you're eating or something like that. Like it was like weird. I don't know. It was weird stuff like that, but it was never like, here's etiquette.
Yeah.
They also, Girl Scouts was so funny. They also taught us the Heimlich maneuver in Girl Scouts. And then one girl did it too hard on me and I had to go home.
Is that not childhood in a nutshell? Is that not childhood memories? I
immediately was like, I don't feel good.
She pulled my tummy too hard. So my mommy has to come pick me up. That's just childhood in a nutshell. Like crying at random times when you shouldn't.
I know. Yeah, I was an emotional kid. I cried a lot. Mm-hmm. I was one of those kids where it was like I had a hard time.
Yeah, I had
separation anxiety too a little bit.
Yeah.
And so it was like I had a hard time like sleeping over at people's houses.
Yeah.
Like I would always kind of have like I could sleep over with like one friend. You know, growing up and like that was kind of, and half the time I'd still be like, I want my mom. Like,
yeah. Interesting. Yeah. But I think that's also because you're the oldest kid. I think the oldest kids get that.
I think so too. And because I was an only child for so long, it was, I was so like, well, it's just me and my mommy.
Yeah.
I'm always with my mommy. And so it was weird when I wasn't with my mommy.
Yeah.
Like,
for me, I don't know. I feel like I was always just separated so much that it was kind of like, it's fine.
Yeah. You already had an older sibling. You were second, then you immediately had a third. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Big family stuff.
Big family stuff.
But so smear the queer. So anyway, those.
Where does the queer come into play?
The guy who has the ball is the queer.
What am I not? Okay.
Do you want me to explain to you why he's queer? Because honestly, from the LGBTQ stuff, when people explain what the Q is, I'm always like, I'm confused. So how is that not LGB or T? And basically, the vague and ambiguousness of that, I think, could be applied to whoever currently has the ball.
Okay.
The ball makes them queer. Okay. I think there's other names that are like even more offensive, and smear the queer was like this is not that bad version. But anyway, that's what they would play in Squid Games. Like they would play stuff like that, and so it's the one series where you kind of could. Yeah. You know?
Okay.
You kind of could do it.
I guess. I don't know. IDK, I'm just anti. I'm over remakes.
Yeah.
I'm over live action. I'm over.
Yeah.
Like, I'm over the whole, like, right now they're about to start promoting all the, like, How to Train Your Dragon live action stuff. And it was like, why?
That one makes no sense.
Just leave animation alone. Animation is great. Let's not phase out animation. I think animation is so important for kids.
I don't think animation's going anywhere.
I think it is because
it's cheaper and easier to do now than ever. And now it's also adults watch it.
But it's like the fact that they're already Moana like just came out and they're already like we're doing live actions.
I think that's a cash grab. I don't think that's hey, this will do better, because honestly, I think that that's one of those instances where I think that the animation would naturally do better than the live action.
No, I think so too. I just like why are we doing
doubles? It's a way to double up money on kids,
I guess.
Where it's like parents will take them. I mean, I can't imagine the number of kids who went to see Moana in theaters more than once.
Yeah.
Now they get to go back to the theater more than once to see the live action one. So it's it's.
When was the last time they made like an animated movie that wasn't like, that was more like of like a 2D style, like, you know, like the original Cinderella? Because I like those.
A long time.
You know, like I want more of those.
And apparently those are sort of coming back, but
I would hope so, because I think that those are great.
But it's the type of thing where it's like when those come back, because I feel like one's coming out soon. Princess and the Frog, I think, was the last one.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Because that was drawn. That felt like drawn. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I prefer it. But that's just my take.
That's just you saying that.
That's just me being a curmudgeonal woman.
That's you saying that this generation doesn't understand good music.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is.
Yeah. Which is weird because you love this generation's music.
I do.
And I think that the kids are all on dope and addicted to their phones. I do.
Need to get off that damn phone.
Just get off the phone.
Though I do agree that the phones are the problem.
Phones are really the problem. The phones are literally drugs and they're addictive.
I'm addicted.
I'm addicted.
Oh my God, I'm addicted.
Everyone's addicted, and it's a dopamine suck.
Yeah.
It's literally just the concept, and I know everybody's heard this before, but it bears repeating. All your phone does is just suckle at your dopamine all day. You only have so much.
Yeah.
So when you're not on your phone, you're fucking depressed. And even when you're on your phone for too long, there's not much dopamine left.
I know. I know. Part of me is like, I need to go on like a reality show or something for like a couple months where I don't have my phone.
What a hilarious situation we're in. Where like, that's an option for you.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you could go on a reality show.
I know. I feel like I've thought about for like the past 2 years being like, should I just apply to Big Brother? But I feel the problem is like, it's not even my phone so much. It's I hate the like no screens. The problem, like I would love to like be able to watch a movie before going to bed or something like that.
Yeah. I think you would actually, you'd be okay pretty quickly.
Probably.
I think it'd be the first few nights you'd have like little withdrawals. And I think everybody has that.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
The problem for like Big Brother reality shows and stuff like that is that we're both sort of in that like exact little awkward middle spot where it's like you could arguably be on Celebrity Big Brother, but especially with who they get on the show. Like,
I guess, but like, they just get, but I'd want to go on like Real Big Brother.
I know that's what I'm saying. It's like,
yeah,
but it would be the problem with you going on Real Big Brother is odds are at least one person knows who you are.
Maybe. And I guess it is the thing of like people find it unfair kind of if people have some follower stuff already. Cause I know that like the last person they kind of did that with was like Frankie Grande, where it was like, I don't know why he was on Real Big Brother. Like,
well, but nobody knew who he was.
I guess
right?
so. Yeah. Nobody knew. And so it was fine.
But like, I know from us just going anywhere, how many people start in the house? We asked that.
I'd forget every time. Is it like 20 or 16? It's like 16 to 20.
Like 16 to 20. One person, at the very least, is going to be like, how do I know you?
Yeah.
At the very least.
Uh-huh.
Odds are like 3 or 4 people would be like, I know you from something.
Yeah.
And that makes it awkward. Whereas it's either that or you go on Celebrity Big Brother where
nobody knows me.
Where compared to everyone else, it's like, you can't compete with the likes of Mickey Rourke, always right, Mickey Rourke.
And Jojo Siwa.
Always wrong, Jojo Siwa.
Yeah.
Mickey called it.
I'm
never going to let that die. I think that's the funniest twist ever.
I think he put a curse on her.
I could see him being into like witchcraft.
I think so too. That's why I'm like, I think he like left the house and like cursed her. I don't know.
I could see that. He cursed her straight. During Pride Month. The Catholic Church is doing anything they can to get Mickey on their side. Yeah. How do we
do this?
Show us what you did.
Yeah.
But they're conflicted because it's sort of devil worshipy.
That's true.
Are you ready for sports gossip?
Hit me, sister.
Okay, so recently you've gotten like really into this season of Love Island.
Yes, I've entered the villa.
And I think I can actually use it to teach you fantasy football.
Okay, go on.
Okay, so imagine we're playing Fantasy Island.
Okay,
so like fantasy football, Fantasy Island is a game based off of the performances of players who are playing another game, which is basically the same concept as mortgage-backed securities, which led to the 2008 financial crisis, but we're going to bookmark that for financial gossip.
Devo, we don't talk about numbers here.
I know, but it is weirdly, I was like, wow, fantasy football could be used to describe mortgage-backed securities. Okay. Financial gossip coming to you in 2026.
Economy gossip.
Summer 2026. I could do it.
You could gossipify everything.
I could gossipify basically. It's like politics. I could just tell you, okay, so this badge. Okay, so just like in fantasy football, where you're basically building like your dream team, in Fantasy Island, you're building your dream villa. This is where you're picking your players or your Islanders based off of very limited information. Like, so in football, you obviously know how they did last season, or if they're a rookie, like how they did in college, but you also know like, okay, what team are they playing on? What quarterback is throwing to them, et cetera, like stuff like that. Whereas for Fantasy Island, you're basically just basing it off of like their looks, whatever research you get out of like stalking their social media pages, their like announcement videos, to basically decide, okay, which of these players is going to score the most points this season?
Yeah, who looks the best in the swimsuit right now?
Yes, because that's how you win these games, is by having your players score more points. So like in football, it's obvious. It's like, okay, you get a point or half a point for every catch, 6 points when somebody throws a touchdown. Whereas for like Fantasy Island, it would actually be very, very similar, where it's like you get a point per kiss.
Okay.
You get 5 points if they couple up or stay in a couple, but you also can lose points. Like in fantasy football, you lose points if your player throws an interception. In Fantasy Island, you would obviously lose the most points. You'd lose like 10 points if they get dumped off of the island.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You do not win the championship based off of the draft, okay?
Okay.
Because both Love Island and football have insanely high turnover rate. I mean, any week, one of your players could get injured or dumped from the island. So the winning manager is the one who is vigilant and is always ready to fill that slot with a backup, a new bombshell.
A new bombshell has entered the villa.
Exactly. Here's the other thing too. In both football and Love Island, the best players are actually the ones who are the riskiest, okay? So like 2 seasons ago, Christian McCaffrey was by far the most valuable player in fantasy football. He scored by far the most points. If you had him, if you had Christian McCaffrey on your team, you had a 60% chance of going to the finals. That's like an outlier. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
Huda this year is the star.
Yeah.
She's the MVP of the season. But like Christian McCaffrey, if you had Christian McCaffrey on your team, you were so freaking thrilled because you're like, I'm going to win this game no matter what. But you were also sweating because the reason why he scored so many points is because he was constantly getting the ball. The more chance, which just gives him more opportunities to get hurt and be done for the season. Hood is so good because she's causing all of this drama. Everything's about her. That just increases the chances that she's going to get dumped one of these weeks.
But yeah, and also because she's been single for a lot of it, it's been tough because she could ruffle a lot of feathers.
She's constantly ruffling feathers. Christian McCaffrey's constantly running the ball. Like, how long can they sustain that until they're kicked off the island?
So I feel like basically like for me, my strategy would be like for my top girl and guy to like couple up.
Yeah, you know what? That's actually a fantasy football strategy as well. It's called a stack, okay? It's basically where you have both the quarterback and the receiver that he throws it to.
Okay.
It's a really good way to either win big or lose really fast because it's obviously each player is totally dependent on the other. Like basically like, put it this way, like say you have like Olandria and Taylor, okay? They're a stack. If you have them on your fantasy island team, like, holy shit, you're doing great. Except you started noticing that Taylor's starting to talk to Clark.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, a vigilant manager, a good fantasy island manager, what they would do is be like, you know what? Okay, while I have the chance, while nobody's reaching for her, I'm going to pick Clark up. I'm going to pick Clark up off of waivers. Okay. So that way, if they break up, which they do, sorry for spoilers, although I don't know. If they break up, you can just drop Elantria and you immediately have her back up to fill it in. In fantasy football, this is called a handcuff.
Okay.
Okay. So usually a lot of players, when you have like a starting running back like Christian McCaffrey, you'll also draft his backup just to keep him on your bench. In case he gets hurt, you can just plug him in, just in case.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it works out so well because it's like one of the reasons why fantasy football is so popular is because it's like, yeah, obviously most of the games are on Sundays, but they're also on Mondays and Thursdays. And if you watch college football, it's Saturdays. I don't have to tell you this. There's a lot of football.
There's a lot of freaking football.
It's a lot of freaking football. And it's the football season's really fun because it's like, I'm always consumed by like what I want to watch.
Yeah.
And Love Island's the same thing. Like every night, it feels like there's a Love Island episode.
Every weekday night, I've got a game on.
You've got a game on. Literally every weekday night, you have a game.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if there was Love Island Red Zone?
Oh my God. I would love that.
Except Scott Hansen would be like Scottish Hansen.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, all right. How does anybody understand him?
I feel like it's like you just don't.
You just don't. It's just vibes.
And every now and then he does crack a really good joke.
He does.
You gotta love him.
He does. But yeah, basically the manager who wins the fantasy football season or the fantasy island season is the one who's honestly always staying on top of it. Okay? Because the second you ignore it, the second you're starting players who've been dumped from the island who are already benched.
Yeah.
You know? So take that into account the next time that your man is spending his entire Sunday staring at the TV as Scott Hansen just talks him through what's going on. Okay? He's not ignoring you.
Yeah.
He's being a good manager.
Okay.
And it means he's devoted to what he does.
Okay.
Give him a pass.
It's basically the same reason why I downloaded the Love Island app.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I'm trying to control what's happening in the villa.
What we need is for Fantasy Island to become a thing.
Yeah.
So that these stupid boys can get a taste of their own medicine.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sure they're going to hate it when their girlfriends are ignoring them.
Why has it been so peaceful lately?
What?
Why has it been so peaceful lately?
Oh my God. We haven't fought. And one last thing too, before we wrap this up. In fantasy football, certain positions are more valuable than others.
Okay.
Okay. Like, for example, like Travis Kelce pre-Taylor Swift dad bod was arguably like the most was arguably the most valuable player in fantasy football.
Okay.
And it wasn't because he scored the most points. He didn't. But it was because he scored so many more points than the other players at his position, the tight end.
Okay.
So having him give you a huge advantage as opposed to having, like, the difference between the best quarterback and the second best quarterback wasn't that far, but the different distance between him and the second best tight end was huge. So having him, you'd pick him in the first round. You're like, okay, I have this huge advantage. And he started dating Taylor Swift and the numbers dropped off. I'm not saying that they were correlated. I'm just saying that that's what happened. I'm not saying it's causation. I'm just saying that there is correlation.
There is correlation.
Is
it kind? Oh, sorry. Actually,
no, go on.
I was just gonna say. So is it kind of like how in The Villa, it's you have a better standing if you're one of the original cast members versus a bombshell because you obviously you get more time with people or whatever. But then there's players like Sierra, where it was like she was basically like a first round bombshell. So she's been there almost so long, and she coupled up with someone early on that like it feels like she's an original cast member.
No, definitely. Like, I mean, honestly, that just kind of goes with like they say that like you don't win your season in the draft, you win your season in the first or second week. Like the players who are picked up because you don't know anything in the draft.
Yeah.
But in the first game, usually you can tell like, oh, this rookie nobody picked. Like he actually caught, the Matt Stafford threw Puka Nacua like 18 passes the first week, and everybody picked him up because like, oh shit, is he going to be like a big deal? And he ended up being a big deal. Sometimes he's a bust. But like the first few weeks are like really where you're like, okay, let me pick up the people that people forgot about.
Yeah.
That people slept on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Later on managing, it's less of like kind of luck. It's more just staying on top of it.
Yeah.
Because you kind of already know who all your players are. And now you're just hoping that they don't get broken up with or whatever.
They don't get pulled for a chat.
It is funny though. I watched the cast announcement. And I was trying to figure out like who I would have picked first. And the first pick in the draft, I think would have been Jeremiah. Like he literally starts off the, cast announcement video basically saying like his first words are, I'm a communication nerd.
Yeah.
To which I read, I'm a huge gaslighter.
Yeah.
I'm picking him with my first overall pick.
Yes.
Which would have totally worked. And like until he got dumped off the island, and now I got to go reaching for like a Chris or a Zach.
Yeah.
To replace. You can't replace a Jeremiah.
No.
He's too much drama.
He was too much drama. That's why he got dumped.
Yeah.
But
anyway, that's sports gossip.
Sports gossip.
We're gonna make Fantasy Island a thing.
Yeah.
No.
You want to do the skinny dip?
Let's dive in.
Welcome back to the skinny dip, the segment where I help you dip your toes into this week's pop culture news by giving you the skinny. Man, this week's skinny dip was actually kind of tough because so many headlines this week were just Love Island, and I want to separately cover Love Island this week.
Yeah.
So many years later, Rita Ora has actually finally spoken out and said that Beyonce actually supported her a ton through the rumors that she was Becky with the good hair. She basically said that like during the Met Gala and stuff, she like made an effort to take pictures with her to show that like that's not who Becky with the good hair is.
I'm not Becky.
Yeah. Beyonce actually had to pause the concert in Houston because she was sitting in a floating prop car that left her tilted and suspended in the air. And if you know Beyonce, you know that pausing a concert is not something she does.
Pink would never. Pink would have driven the car home. It reminded me so much of like when you're on like a theme park ride, when you're on like a Disney ride and it pauses.
Yes.
And then you get to see that you're actually just filled with stairs.
Yeah. Next, we have a little bit of a girls' trip. Dakota Johnson and Kate Hudson were seen in Spain and Italy after Dakota Johnson's recent split from Chris Martin from Coldplay.
They're both Nepo babies, actually.
They are, and actually their moms are friends.
That's really cute.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, wow.
Nepo baby trip.
Nepo baby trip.
And then one I'm not even going to get that far into because it makes me mad, but whatever, a little bit of justice. Diddy was found guilty on 2 out of 5 of the charges in his most recent trial, and even though his sentence hasn't been set yet, the judge actually rejected giving him bail.
Thank God.
Thank God.
He honestly, he should not be free.
No. Throw away the key.
The key should be thrown away.
Yeah.
Man, the prosecution biffed that.
I know. Don't let me put my tinfoil hat on. Like, there's so many conspiracy theories.
I know. I don't want to do it either.
I know. It was just one of those things where it was like at a certain point during the trial, I just knew it just wasn't going to go the way it was supposed to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
When we found out that the jury was at a split decision.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. But they didn't have the trial aired.
Yeah.
Like we didn't actually see.
We didn't get to see.
We didn't get to see. So everybody was just expecting it to be going exactly as planned. Mm-hmm. But I think the prosecution team just blew it.
No, it felt so open and shut, but like obviously it's not when it comes to like legal procedure, which I don't know.
Yeah.
On a recent episode of Call Her Daddy, Charlize Theron actually just confessed that she had a one-night stand with a 26-year-old and said it was amazing.
Mamacita?
Mamacita?
Finally, the girls are starting to get it.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear anybody shitting on the guys now. Yeah. Nobody gives Bezos credit enough for finding a nice age-appropriate woman.
I agree. How good of him.
Right?
How absolutely good of him to marry an age-appropriate woman.
You would have never predicted it.
No.
No.
And because if he wasn't marrying an age-appropriate woman, that it wouldn't be a conversation. It just would be like, well, yeah, like he's marrying 27-year-old supermodel, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
And the ones that they marry or end up with always happen to like have dated Steven Tyler.
Uh-huh.
And Mick Jagger.
Yes. Secret Lives of Mormon Wives star Jen Affleck just gave birth to her third baby after sharing a video of her actually going into labor at the nail salon.
Oh, shit. At least, did they finish?
I think they did.
Or she was like one hand?
Well, she was like, listen, I have to before the baby comes, I need to make a good impression.
God, I hope they finished.
I know that would actually piss me off if I had to leave with like my nails half done.
Yeah. Oh my God.
She like they're in like the clip.
Bring the nail tech to the hospital.
I've like seen that before where people bring their like eyelash girls like to like be like, can you like fill in my eyelashes?
That's so funny.
But because I think she like had like a doula. The like doula came to the nail salon to like check her like cervix at the salon and then was like, all right, let's go to the hospital.
That sounds a little unsanitary for a salon.
Definitely.
Let me just check your cervix real quick.
Just get on the floor. Let me get in there really quick.
Yeah, let me just.
Yeah.
Real quick. Yeah.
Dave Grohl just made his first public appearance in a very long time with his wife at Wimbledon.
Oh, they're staying together?
Yeah, 9 months after the announcement that he had a baby outside of his marriage.
Rare to have a baby outside your marriage and not get divorced.
Yeah.
That feels like the final deal breaker.
You would think.
You would think so.
But they seemed happy, so I don't know. Maybe they worked through it. Maybe sometimes it's just that thing where you're like, I'm married to a rock star. You kind of just have to look the other way if you like that life.
Man, he's another example of why I'm always like, anytime everybody loves somebody, I'm like, there's something you're not seeing.
Yeah.
Mark Ruffalo. I'm never going to let go of him and Pedro Pascal. What are we not seeing?
Mark Ruffalo, I will say, is more of the like, what?
What did you do?
And I love Mark Ruffalo, but I'm like, what? Yeah.
I bet you his past, he makes Mark Wahlberg.
He makes him look like an angel.
Look like an altar boy.
Speaking of Wimbledon, of course, there was a ton of celebrity sightings there, like Olivia Rodrigo, Nick Jonas and Priyanka Chopra, John Cena, Jessica Alba, David Beckham, the whole squad.
Why is John Cena at a tennis tournament the funniest thing to me?
I don't know. He just feels like such a large man.
You're too big for the court.
To be like sitting in a little seat.
Yeah, you can't sit in normal people's seats.
Sabrina Carpenter attended Olivia Rodrigo's London show, putting an end to their feud rumors that started in 2021 after their whole love triangle, singer-songwriter, back and forth drama.
Maybe they both realized that the person they were competing for is gay.
Yeah.
Why are we fighting for a gay guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if this is like when Hailey Bieber and Selena Gomez follow each other.
And they took that picture together.
And they take that picture.
Look, yeah.
And then 3 months later, they unfollow each other.
I will say we kind of brushed past the fact that at the Grammys, Sabrina Carpenter and Olivia Rodrigo were seen in the background of a shot, like giving a hug to each other.
I don't think it was a real fight. I really think it was concocted.
I think that they boosted both of their careers pretty well.
Yeah. And I think that maybe after a while, you kind of forget that it's fake.
Yeah.
And then all you need to do is say like 2 sentences to each other. And all of a sudden it's like, well, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, wait, yeah. We made this up.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so the girls aren't fighting. We'll take it.
We'll take it.
Hopefully, honestly, I would love nothing more than like a
collab.
really good song together.
Yeah.
They're both good.
They're both really good.
They're kind of good at making like upset breakup music. So
Yeah.
what if we joined forces?
Maybe, and then they need to join with Adele. Yeah. And Taylor Swift. Let's have all the people let's just have them write. Let's have a super band.
Yes.
Ruin a guy's life.
Yes.
By just being like, and then you did this.
Yeah.
In metaphor. We're all coming in.
But yeah, that's your skinny dip for the week. Next, we're going to get into a little bit of a Love Island recap.
Okay.
It was actually kind of hard. So I wanted to do a Love Island recap from the beginning, but I ran into the problem of I didn't start it right away. And then we went to Turkey and I was like, I'm going to catch up while we're in Turkey because I have so much downtime while we're there. When we got there, found out Peacock was blocked. So then I became like 10 days behind and I was not able to watch Love Island. It was driving me nuts. So I like marathon sprinted, watched like 26 episodes of Love Island because I'm a champ.
Yeah, anymore.
And now I'm caught up. So I'm ready to give you what I think.
Let me just start by saying it wasn't a very loving island.
Where is the love?
Where is the love?
What kind of accent
we went kind of a Middle Eastern, but like Kazakhstan. No, I didn't.
It was a little Russian on my
Little
end.
Russian's what it is, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think we just want to get into a little bit of a Love Island opinion / recap.
Let's go vacationing to the island. We'll figure out the saying. We'll figure out our catchphrase.
Let's go enter the villa.
Let's enter the villa. It feels like what everybody does.
That's true. But yeah, let's talk about Love Island this week because it has been absolutely wild.
Yes.
So this week started post the Casa Amor recoupling and with the booty shake heard around the world during the heart rate challenge.
Yes.
It's so strange how much this week changed me from liking so many people to disliking so many people.
Yes.
So this week started with the heart rate challenge and then the mailbox challenge just absolutely blew up the entire house. I think production realized none of these people are in love. Let's just like light a match in it and call it a day.
Are there any regrets you think on their end?
No, I think it saved the season, even though it's absolute chaos. I think it caused all the drama they need it like to continue or whatever.
Let's nuke it, start fresh.
Yeah, let's just nuke it. They just were like, let's just nuke the house.
Yeah.
I'm just going to kind of go like person by person, and I'm not going to cover everyone. I'm going to cover like the main players this week.
People, yeah.
I'm going to start with Shelly. This has been really hard for me because Shelly went from like being my girl to me downloading the Love Island app to actually vote myself, which I've never done before because I was like, I need this girl out of the house.
Yeah.
Oh my God. She's delusional. She thinks she's the Bachelorette right now.
She's the Donald Trump of Love Island. A lot of people are voting either for or against because of her for the first time.
Yes.
Your first vote was inspired by Shelly, not in a positive way.
Not in a positive way. It was just frustrating because it's like Shelly's been like my favorite this entire time.
Yeah. Shelly comes off very nice. She's the opposite of Alandria, where it's like Alandria, for whatever reason, just me watching in the background. Shelly seems like very sweet.
Yeah.
Like coming off.
I don't think Alandria is very affectionate. And so it's a stark contrast on the show.
Yeah. You know what that is? She comes off a little bit cold. Like I just remember in the background watching, like I always got the vibe of like, she seemed a little bit distance.
Yeah, like it's weird on a show where it's like everyone's constantly like, basically dry humping for her to like be like, I don't really want to do anything physical. Like it kind of is like, wait, well, wait a minute. Like it's you're like, are you being cold and distant? And it's like she's being, I guess, normal, but like I don't know. But I know what you mean.
But normal people aren't supposed to go on Love Island.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to go on unless you're like, I'm a fucking whore.
Yeah.
In a good way. In a good way.
Shelly thinks that she's like the Bachelorette right now and basically like people should be coming to her. She thinks that she can get claim on Ace and Chris right now.
Yeah.
Which is just, and she also was claiming that Huda was like, I'm taking Chris to the house for you. Like I'm recoupling with him so I could bring him to the house so you could explore him. When there was footage of Huda saying, I'm pursuing him, I'm exploring him. Like I like him too. Yeah. Like she also was like, you could explore him as well. But like she coupled up with him and she was upset that Huda was like actually pursuing him.
Yeah.
She was acting like, oh, you're not a girl's girl. It's the guy she's coupled up with. What?
Yeah, what?
And also she wasn't even talking to Chris. Like she didn't make the effort all week to have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
It was so strange. But so Shelly thought that during the heart rate challenge that Huda took it too far with Ace or whatever. When Huda was literally just doing the exact same thing everyone else was doing.
Playing by the rules.
And also everyone was like dogpiling on her earlier when she was with Jeremiah being like, you're not taking part of the challenges. Like you're not playing the game. Yeah. She apologized and is now trying to take part of the challenges. And people are now upset that she's taking part of the challenges.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to use like the Jeremiah thing against her when she's already like apologized and we've moved on from that.
Yeah.
But so Shelly kept saying that Huda was taking it too far when Shelly also like doubled back to kiss Chris twice during that competition. Yeah. Like where it's like, he only needed to do it once. That might be taking it too far, if anything. Yeah. But Huda was fine with it. She was clapping. She was cheering. She was like, yeah, do whatever. Ace was the one that like was grabbing Huda's ass like the whole time. And she wasn't mad at him for some reason. It was just Huda.
How could she tempt him like that?
How could she? What a temptress. Oh my God.
That's weird. We should burn the witch.
We should burn the witch.
I think she's a witch.
Yeah. But
that's how it started.
So a lot of people online were also talking about like, well, maybe she did something so insane that they cut it out.
Yeah.
And like, that's why people were giving her that reaction. My pause to that, which I would think like, okay,
I really doubt that.
I really doubt that because producers of the show would be like, the messier it is, the better. Why would they cut out the absolute juice?
And they would be referencing the thing she did.
The thing she did.
Like, what could she have done that would have really crossed the line?
I have no idea because during that competition, there was like 3-way kisses. But there was like girls putting their ass in guys' face. Like they were like, it was an orgy.
It was like, that's the thing. It's like, while like, yeah, they might not be able to show something super inappropriate on TV, they could all talk about it.
It was the closest to penetration you can get on TV.
Yeah.
Truly was that competition. As it's supposed to be.
Honestly, I think come next year, there'll be penetration on TV.
I think so too.
Everybody like grow up. The kids have phones.
Oh my God, the kids have phones.
The kids have fucking phones. They've seen this.
Yeah. But I don't know. So then during the mailbox challenge, I just felt like all the girls were unfairly piling on Huda when she just finally is like taking part of things. Like she's just finally being like, I'm going to play the game.
Yeah.
And she also, for the first time, like has a connection since Jeremiah.
Can I just say though? This is a really good lesson for reality TV. I'm thinking like Big Brother, thinking Love Island, where the first impressions, or better yet, like the second impressions, they do last.
Yeah.
And I think that even though Huda's been a changed woman, the people in the house still remember the freaking chaos. And
absolutely.
She has a much shorter leash than anyone else does, which is super unfair.
Yeah.
But I think she, in a lot of ways, is still being kind of punished for the crimes of, as time goes on, people think more and more about being like, yeah, she was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
Yeah. The way I wanted to like defend Huda originally in the beginning. And then I watched the show being like, okay, let me get ready to defend this girl. And I was like, it's actually really hard to.
It's a tough defense.
Besides the fact it's like she just was having a really emotional moment. Like she just could not control the emotions. I think she just was a very, very emotional person. And I just think it was too much too fast for her or something.
Yeah.
And she just had a genuine like breakdown.
Yeah.
And the thing was, it wasn't fair to the rest of the people in the villa.
No.
And that's why it was wrong, was because she literally was taking up so much like emotional space.
Yeah.
Like when someone's having a fit, it's hard to like talk about anything besides the person having a fit.
Yeah. And they kind of bond over it.
Yeah.
And the bond is about how you're crazy.
Yes. And even though it's like, obviously Huda's like, you know what? Pulled her big girl pants up and was like, time to move on from that.
Yeah.
They're still holding on to that. And like now I think they were just like ready to dogpile on her. And this, I don't know. Just this whole thing just felt very like Mean Girl, where it was like everyone was like, how dare you do that to Shelly?
Yeah.
You mean like by exploring your connection with the guy you're coupled up with?
By doing what Shelly would have done too.
Yeah. But anyways, that was enough on that. But so I guess we can move on to Ace, because it was like, well, Ace was the one who was grabbing her ass. It was like, okay, so he was in the wrong for that. Honestly, all I'll say about Ace was he was wrong for dogpiling on Amaya, and he was wrong for declaring that he was 5'10".
Look, we love our short kings.
We do be a short king. I love a short king.
You want, or should we be the anti-short king podcast?
No,
we have to take space somewhere.
No, everyone dogpiles on short kings. We have to support short kings and bald kings.
That's true.
That's our platform.
That's true. We're the kingdom.
Yeah.
The bald kingdom.
Bald short kings. We love you.
Yeah. Oh my God. Bald short kings. Forget it.
Yeah. It's a pitbull, you know?
Yeah. Oh, for real. No, yeah. Ace. And again, for me, everything's much more surface level. I see little things and I'm like, that's who this person is.
Yeah. Jack watches more passively. I
very
watched
much
the
so.
show. Yeah.
He to me comes off as a very non-threatening, non-sexual entity. So
everyone online seems to hate him, which I think
is weird, because I think it'd be the opposite with what he does online.
Yeah, but
he's very funny.
I don't hate him. I don't dislike him the way that everyone else does. I kind of get a kick out of him. Besides the way he treated Amaya, that's kind of my biggest about him.
Well, now it's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But like a little bit. Like a little bit. Like he wasn't as bad as like everyone else. So like with Amaya is clearly the only person in the villa who's like looking for love, honestly.
Yeah, she seems very genuine.
She seems very genuine. Like right now, one of the things is like nobody's running her social media. Every single other cast member has a friend or a manager running their social media.
Yeah.
She just went on the show. Like no one's posting stories for her. No one's being like, vote for her. Like nothing's happening. She is just on the show. And I feel like all these guys just keep coupling up with her so that they can be safe. And then they're upset when she's like, I want to
we're a couple.
Be romantic. Yeah. And she just wears her heart on her sleeve.
Yeah.
It was just really sad to see all of the guys like dogpile on her for being like, you are too affectionate, you know, on the show where we're all dry humping each other and sucking each other's tongues. Like,
is there like, are there girls in the show where it's like, these are the girls that everybody's crush on?
It goes in phases.
Because I'm struggling to see it and be like, that's the hot girl. They're all kind of equally.
That is the thing with the show, is when everyone's kind of equally hot.
Yeah.
It kind of doesn't matter anymore. Like there's not really like a.
In a way, it's kind of Love is Blind.
In a way, it's kind of Love is Blind for hot people.
Yeah, but not so hot people. That's the thing. It's like, it's the perfect ground of like.
With like Instagram face people.
Because people who are, that's the perfect cast of the show, I've noticed, because the 10 out of 10 gorgeous people, they wouldn't go on Love is Blind. They're in love.
Yeah.
You know? They got it. Or Love Island. I keep calling it Love is Blind.
I know. Yeah, it's more the people who are like, they're willing to like put in the filler and do this and do that. They're the people who are more likely to go on a show where it's like you're in a thong bikini the whole time.
Which, by the way, the worst the worst people when it comes to that are all the guys in the show.
Yeah.
The guys are way more superficial.
The
one guy's got fucking lip filler.
Yeah. We swear TJ has lip filler.
TJ has lip filler.
Okay, I'm like, I need to start
Sorry.
going by. No, because I'm just trying to do this past week. So, okay, Chris, the basketball player, the one who is coupled up with Huda, he's at the top of my pyramid this week. He seems actually like emotionally mature. He was very defensive to Huda. Like he immediately was like, nope, I think you guys trying to out our kiss was bullshit. And like he's actually interested in her. And like he was defending her and he's doing all the right things with Huda where it's like he is like validating her feelings and is constantly like reassuring her. Like he actually seems really in on her. And I think that they're a great couple. So Chris went to the top of my pyramid this week. I voted for him. I will say the one thing was during the mailbox challenge, they were trying to like accuse him of just coupling up with Huda so he can come to the villa because God forbid no one could love Huda.
Yeah.
So, and he basically was like, I don't have to be here right now. I could be overseas playing ball. And while everyone was like, I will say you looked into him, right?
So I looked into him. So I looked into him. He played for Fresno State. He played like 3 years of college, 3 different schools, which is either, well, I guess in basketball of all things, like in football, if somebody plays for multiple schools, now that the players are allowed to transfer, it either means that they're so good that they're basically just following the money, or it means that they're not very good and they're just, they're starting off at a really good school and basically trying to find a place that they can start. In basketball, it doesn't work that way. If you're moving schools, it almost always means you're not very good. And the schools he was going to, 2 of them I'd even heard of. He now plays professional. So he played 3 years of college basketball. The last one at like UC Dominguez State, which I don't know what division they're in. He now plays in the Indonesian Professional Basketball League, which, and again, this like, I don't want this to sound too harsh. I think he's a really great Love Island player. And that's great. He's playing the Indonesian Basketball League. I don't think I'm that far away from playing the Indonesian Basketball League.
Yeah.
It's not like...
You kind of just need to be 6 feet.
You need to be 6 feet plus. And not even. That's just a bonus. If you're 6 feet plus, you're the tallest person in Indonesia. I think that what you're being paid, I think it's more of a cost of living thing. Where it's like, yeah, you're only getting like $100 a month, but that's like a mansion in Indonesia. So the answer, he's not... Anyone can play professional basketball if it just means that someone's giving you $5 to play basketball.
Yeah.
So no, he's not a very.
So he's not.
He's not a ball player. He's not. You know what? He might be a professional basketball player. He's not a baller.
Okay.
I'd put it that way.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be on him because he's 6'8" and that there's some skill that I think is a not very athletic but very tall person.
Yeah. Okay. But he's still at the top of my pyramid. But I thought that him claiming he could be overseas playing basketball right now, it was like...
The assumption is when you're a professional basketball player, you're in the NBA.
And he's not.
No. No, I'd say he's about 5,000 leagues away from the NBA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Brian, I'm going to go ahead and learn your name.
Sea Lion Brian.
Honestly, he was one of those people where it was like he came in, I Casa Amor, and he just didn't get enough screen time for me. Like he didn't make an impression. So he's just like... so in the back of my mind, like I forget he's there until every now and then he like is on the screen. I'm like, oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
But he defended our sweet Amaya by being like, she's not calling you babe to be like, you're my boyfriend. She grew up in a Latin household like that. Yeah. Like he was defending the culture, being like, you just don't get like the homes we come from. Like it's a completely different culture. And I like that he was the only guy who was like honestly ballsy enough to like stand up and defend her while the rest of the guys were dogpiling on her.
Well, he's probably also knowing that like his family's probably watching and be like, why aren't you saying anything? You know this isn't weird.
Yes.
It's also, can I just point out, it's a little hypocritical that an entire group that keeps on using the fucking phrase stood on business can't imagine that other people might use different terms than they do.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So
stood on business.
So I'm hoping Brian and Amaya get together. I hope that they become a little thing.
I think that they're the real deal. I think he's interested.
I think he is too.
Yeah.
I think that. So I'm rooting for them. I hope that next week I see them get together. So yeah, Brian, I will learn your name, and then Zach.
Well, did we ever like him?
No, and his stupid ass haircut.
His hair was cut.
It you see it's like Dumb and Dumber in the front where it's like all different lengths.
It's British.
First of all,
it's British people.
It's British people.
Like they're like, I don't know.
Yeah. First of all, Zach, get the fuck off of Love Island USA. You have your own goddamn franchise. Leave fucking Amaya alone.
I don't want to sound xenophobic, but you're not allowed to be here. Go back where you came from, British people.
Stay away from America.
Go to Love Island. Go to Love Island UK.
Yeah.
That's where it started.
That's like the big one.
Well, you couldn't make it on there?
Why are you here?
Why are you here?
Why are you here terrorizing a literal like Victoria's Secret angel? You think that in real life that girl would even look your way? Oh my God. Like why do you have to dogpile on this poor girl who asked you straight up like what your boundaries are, and you're like, I'm cool with everything and blah blah blah, and you didn't say anything to her?
No.
And then when all your little buddies start kicking her, you're like, ooh, I'll join in too so I can be part of the cool squad. You little bitch. I hope you go down. I hope you go home next week. But anyway, so tonight's episode or whatever. So this most recent episode, honestly was not the bombshell moment everyone was expecting it to be, because there was a lot of voting involved. I don't know what happened.
I need to see the wording of the questions for the votes.
Yeah. Because
and how you voted.
The consensus online.
Was it ranked?
It's basically everyone was like, vote for your favorites.
Okay.
And then the people who got the least amount of votes were the ones who were in danger. So it was 3 boys and 3 girls who were at the bottom.
How many votes did you get for your favorite? Like
you only get to vote for 1 boy and 1 girl. That's it.
See, that totally skews the vote though.
I know.
There's too many people.
I know.
So that means that
I know. No,
the boring people, the people who get less screen time will just get the least amount of votes.
Which is what happened.
Yeah.
Like all the newer people and stuff like that were the ones who, except for the boys, actually it being Taylor and Austin at the bottom was interesting.
Yeah. Seems like nobody likes Austin.
Yeah.
Which is weird because he doesn't seem threatening at all to me.
He's just, why are you there? Like, he's just one of those people.
Like, it doesn't mean, but my point is that the vote doesn't mean that you are the least favorite. It means that you're just nobody's number one.
Yeah.
Which is a totally different scale.
Yeah. And this whole episode did feel honestly really mean towards Clark and Taylor.
Yeah.
Because it was like poor Clark was just got there. She coupled up with a guy who's choosing her, and like she got ranked to the bottom of like all of these things, and she got punished. Like it wasn't very fair. Yeah. And then Taylor which I get like people being upset with him, but like
to an extent,
he's exploring a new connection. He's told Alondria like 1,000 times.
Alondria's got some shooters out there.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I didn't even cover Alondria. Mm-hmm. Alondria she's fake. She is
fake.
She's the one that's she's low key the one that's like stirring up drama.
Honestly, I was right about the sunglasses.
Yeah, she was. Did we cover her? Maybe, or did we talked about her a little bit?
Yeah,
but her basically being like, "Oh, like Huda, you're not a girl's girl." She's exposed the kiss that Huda had with Chris, like as if it was some dirty secret. Meanwhile, Sierra's like one of her BFFs, and she was like playing tonsil hockey with Nick.
Yeah,
and but that's fine.
It's Nick.
It's Nick. It's Nick. But they're closed off now, her and Sarah. Like they're like a super solid couple. I don't know. Alondria feels like she's really stirring up some drama.
Alondria just doesn't seem she's interested in actually playing the game.
No.
I don't think she's attracted to men. I don't think she's attracted to I think she's just do you know what I mean?
I think honestly more than anything, I think her ego was really hurt that Taylor chose someone else. I think I don't think that was a possibility in her head because Taylor was a really quiet guy, like this whole thing.
But did you think that Taylor felt like they were a rock solid couple?
No, I think he thought they were moving really slow. Feel like we're being romantic.
I don't feel like, I mean, that's a big thing. Yeah. I don't feel like you like me.
Yeah. But I think she at a certain point just felt like Taylor was just like locked in with, and I felt like it was like her ego was
she could just pull him around.
Yeah. I think it was more of like her ego was hurt rather than like her heart was broken.
Yeah. What I hate is that like after this, a lot of the worst people feel justified.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. So I was really hoping that this most recent episode was supposed to be like a bombshell of like, oh my God, like we're going to get to see, especially with like America's Voting, that like everyone's upset with like Shelley, Alondria, and Sierra and like blah, blah, blah. And it was like, we just saw none of that. Like the votes just didn't shake that way. So they have no idea that like everyone's out there trying to support like Huda and Amaya right now.
Because the voting system wasn't.
Yeah, the voting system's wrong.
Proper.
You're so right.
And I knew, even the questions, who's the most genuine? What the fuck kind of term is that?
What does that mean? Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
What does genuine mean?
Yeah. And I don't, so, and honestly, I am actually happy that for the people who were going to go home tonight, Taylor was the one who stayed because he actually does have a connection with Clark. Yeah. And it was really unfair that everyone kind of has been kicking her while she's down.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's the most potential to be a strong couple. And so even though Alondria is hurt, it's like, actually, I do think he should be in the house. So
yeah,
sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, so that was this week on Love Island. It was pretty crazy.
I'm in now on the show.
I know. It's a fucking good show. It's good TV.
I know. I probably won't be able to watch every episode with you, but I'll be able to follow along, I'll be able to listen to it, and I'll be able to pick up things and just act like I watch the episodes while I talk.
Yeah.
But there you have it. That's the Public Pool Podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. We will see you guys next week.
Grab a drink and towel off. We love you guys.
Love you guys.
Bye-bye.